New trend on TikTok is to normalize hitting your husband, and I frankly hate it. Let's get into it.
The women highlighted here quietly quitting their husbands rather than dealing with the drama of divorce, they say. More and more women over 40 are choosing to just check out.
My name is Casey, and I have been a therapist for more than a decade, and that includes doing couples therapy, which I think I'm pretty good at, but I also think some of these women cannot be saved from themselves in their marriages. Watch this, and if you can, please like, share, and subscribe on the way in so that maybe, just maybe, you won't hate your spouse.
Listen to this.
Normalize hating your husband. Like, for real. It's okay to go through about a minute, half a day, couple hours, a full day, even a week of just like, I can't stand you right now. But deep down or in the back of your head, it might be all the way down in your toes at this point, you know I love you so much. And I know we're in this together. We're just in the thick of it.
So the first young lady says that it is time to normalize hating your husband. And if that's how you feel about him, then I have some questions about the choices that you've made leading up to your marriage in the first place. But since that cannot be rectified, yes, please blame him for all of your problems. And then, by the way, don't worry about what you might be adding or serving or, yes, even bringing to the table in your own marriage to try to make this thing work, because quite possibly you would get a better response from him if you were more forthright, giving, or sacrificial in the first place. Or maybe you just made some considerations for the fact that when he's gone all day, most likely he's working his behind off so that you can sit at home and make TikToks about how you don't like it.
This is genuinely insane. Why midlife divorce is good for you, as long as you are a woman.
In my experience in working with men, this headline about midlife divorce being good for women is in fact true. It is usually more fruitful for the ladies in these instances, and hence why very many men are choosing to subvert the institution of marriage altogether.
Am I the only one that's like this? Probably not. But when my husband is sick, he's been puking all night. Even if he has a cold, for some reason, the rage inside me is such a fiery rage. And I know there's nothing he can do about it to control it. But it just makes me so angry. It's so ridiculous that it makes me so angry. So he's been puking all night, so I slept on the couch because he like moans and groans. He's like noisy when he's sick.
In defense of this position, it is natural and normal to get a disgust response when there is the potential for germs to be spread. That's sort of an adaptive psychological way that your brain has tried to protect you from things that could harm you. It's like when you need to kill that spider, it disgusts you for a reason. So when someone is sick around you, oftentimes, especially when it's not your own child, it is difficult to have empathy for that person. But this comes with a precondition of a severe negativity that you feel towards your husband, for which I have no sympathy for you. This twit is showing the difference of what happens when she puts on and off her engagement ring, which means that she would have to clean the house or mow the lawn. And frankly, my wife doesn't mow our lawn, but even if she did, you will need to do those things as a responsible adult, whether you are in a marriage or out of one. And perhaps you would even have help with those things. Very often, men in marriages nowadays are much more likely to participate in things like raising the children and spending quality time with your progeny. So if you don't like this type of chores that you might have to do, guess what? You're going to have to do them either way. Maybe you'll get some help, but you'll have more people in your house. So yeah, I get it. In case you think that this is a trend that is only being begotten by the people posting these things, the comment sections, as reviewed by Isabel Brown here, are also just commensurate to the same type of tenor and attitude toward these husbands. Let's watch that.
Saturday. Then they have the audacity to be sad when you fall out of love. Kimmy, don't forget making his doctor's appointments and making sure that he goes, restocking all of his essentials, buying him clothes. Dancing Queen, in all caps, truth, don't do it. They, men, want a mother, not a wife. Chocolate, marriage, especially for mothers, is a nightmare. Claire says, I wish I did that, throwing her engagement ring in the trash 20 years ago. Holly, going through divorce after 26 years, this is nothing. Don't do it. Don't get married, I swear. Men mistakenly think that a woman's greatest fear is loneliness. You're wrong. The greatest fear for any woman is getting married, having children, becoming a domestic servant, living a boring and miserable life with a worthless husband, and then realizing I've wasted all of my time with you.
If your greatest fear in life is being domestic, then you are the most privileged person that has ever walked the earth, because domestication is actually something that people fought centuries and thousands of years in order to be able to provide the types of things that would allow us to have a domestic life. You are an absolutely unread and very, I'm sure, difficult person to get along with if this is your view of your worst fear in life. Of course, it's hyperbole, but also, come on. Lastly, and the crescendo of all of these, is this happily divorced woman of 6 years who's giving marriage advice to women who perhaps find themselves in a difficult, civil union that they might have some hesitations about whether they should stay in or not. She says, here's 9 signs or even more signs and symptoms that you should consider leaving. And one of them is you wish your partner were dead at times, or even you just second guess, whether he's coming in the door or not, which are obviously pretty minimally bothersome. But here we are. What a wretch.
Today would be my wedding anniversary, but instead I have been divorced for 6 years. I am the biggest fan of divorce. Can't advocate enough for it, and so I wanted to share some things with you that might be happening that are signs that it is time to get divorced. I once asked an older former coworker of mine who had been divorced how I would know it was time to get divorced, and she told me that when you're asking people how to know when it's time to get divorced, then aside from that, if you are Googling divorce laws in your state, it's time to get divorced. If you find yourself wishing that they would just randomly die, time to get divorced. If you are lying to your friends and family about how they treat you so that they aren't hated, time to get divorced. If you question whether you're the problem, then it's time to get divorced. If you find yourself saying he's not always like this or they're not always like this, time to get divorced. If you find yourself pretending to be asleep so that you can avoid them, time to get divorced. If you have any signs of PTSD or anxiety, wondering when they come back, if you're hearing footsteps and you wonder if it's them, if you are, hearing a car drive by and you're wondering if it's them, time to get divorced. If you just know that your life will be exponentially easier and lighter and more enjoyable without them, then it's time to get divorced.
Ultimately, I hate this trend as much as these women hate their husbands. And quite frankly, I wouldn't blame men who are in a union with these types of women for making their own way out of the situation. If we are going to regain a society that has genuine integrity and is worth living in, one of the foremost political entities was the family. And without people having hope of having a good, identifiably valuable and meaningful life in family, we are probably not going to regain the type of country and the type of society that is worth living in. So please make good considerations about who you're getting into a relationship with. Invest. If you expect to get a return on investment, that means you must have invested something first. So before you criticize your husband for being sick or whatever, see if you can serve first. And that leads to increases in empathy and sympathy for someone who is other than yourself, which I know that's hard on TikTok and in the TikTok age. And then lastly, have a meeting once a week where you define terms about what kind of roles you want and what are the needs of the household, the needs of the kids, the needs of the schedule. That way you can begin to parse out some of these objections that you have, that he doesn't do enough or he's not considerate enough. Those things in communication can actually be ferreted out, and you can have a much more satisfactory experience as you share what you actually need in the relationship. What a concept. If this can be of any service to you, and please God help you think twice about divorce, because it's ugly, it's difficult, and that civil union means more than you think. And to your children, I come from a divorced family. It broke my life for years. Consider staying if you're not in a relationship where someone's taking full advantage of you. That's not even it. If you're not being if you think that we can maybe make a society based on marriage's integrity and meaning and purpose, and perhaps, yes, even a purpose in God and the Creator himself, please like, share, and subscribe, and consider who you date, and don't get married too soon. But also, if you're thinking about divorce, don't divorce me. Don't leave this channel. Please subscribe. I'll talk to you soon.